In Fallout 4, we are always looking for the best weapons that we can get our hands on. Well, in this video, I'm going to go over the 10 most overpowered legendary weapons in all of Fallout 4. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you enjoy the video. Kicking off the list in the number 10 spot, we have the Overseer's Guardian, which is one of the best early game weapons that you can find, and one that definitely can be used throughout your entire playthrough. The Overseer's Guardian can be found, as implied in the name, in a vault, specifically Vault 81, on the trader Alexis Combs. You can purchase this weapon very early in the game and become an absolute behemoth. This weapon possesses the 2-shot legendary effect, so the regular damage of a combat rifle is doubled on the Overseer's Guardian. This is so ridiculously overpowered because the combat rifle in general is a very powerful weapon, and thus the Overseer's Guardian does double the damage that any normal one can spit out. The Overseer's Guardian can be used as an automatic or non-automatic weapon, and in either scenario does a ton of damage. This is a very simplistic, easy to manage weapon that is brilliant for starting the game and becoming immediately overpowered. The weapon is brilliant at slaughtering your foes, and the only reason it ranks at number 10 is that it is somewhat simplistic compared to the next weapons we are going to discuss on this list. But that is certainly not knocking the Overseer's Guardian. It is an amazing weapon to add to your arsenal. Coming in at the number 9 spot, we have Big Boy, the absolute behemoth of a weapon that can literally eviscerate anything. Now, Big Boy can be purchased for a few thousand caps from Arturo in Diamond City. Big Boy has the same legendary effect as the Overseer's Guardian, the 2-shot legendary effect, so that every shot you fire instead fires 2 bullets, or in this case, 2 mini-nukes. Another amazing thing you can do with this weapon is modify it to have the Kremvh attachment. A regular Fat Man with the Kremvh attachment would fire 6 mini-nukes instead of 1, but Big Boy over here will fire 12 mini-nukes. This takes the overpoweredness of the regular Fat Man and literally doubles it to create an unstoppable killing machine. Now you might think, if I am toting Big Boy as so fantastic, why does it rank at only number 9? Well, the weapon is amazing for creatures like super mutant behemoths or fog crawlers or any other really strong enemy, but the ammo of mini-nukes are not particularly common to find, and they are unable to be purchased from merchants. There is also the risk of you accidentally blowing yourself to smithereens, as I may or may not have done in this clip, which isn't great either. But Big Boy is a fantastic last-minute weapon to have in your arsenal if you're ever in a deadly situation. Coming in at the number 8 spot, we have the Gainer. The Gainer is a pistol that can be found in the Vitale pump house just next to Finch Farm, located here on the map. If we head on over to the pump house from Finch Farm, just across this small pool of water, we can get there and head on inside, where we will find a code that is needed to be inputted to open the door. The code is 10451, and after we enter, we can find a bloody skeleton on the floor, and next to it, the Gainer. The Gainer has the legendary effect of setting fire to targets that are hit by any bullet for an extra 15 points of damage. The Gainer is a great and unique pistol to use, and I especially like that it is a Magnum because that is certainly one of the coolest designed weapons in Fallout 4 in my opinion. You could roleplay a gunslinging westerner with a futuristic touch to your weapon to incinerate your enemies. The weapon is amazing in combat if you are looking for a slower type of play, but if you are looking for extremely rapid fire combat, then the Gainer might not be your cup of tea. Coming in at the number 7 spot, we have Kremvh's Tooth. Kremvh's Tooth can be found in Dunwich Borers, located here on the map. Now, Dunwich Borers is a rather difficult location to traverse if you are a low-level character, as raiders have surrounded the quarry, and inside they are also heavily present. If you are able to make your way through the area, past the raiders, and then onto the vicious ghouls that inhabit the second half of this area, you can finally end up in this region here. Here you will enter into this cave, and you'll witness a flashback to before the war. This will soon fade, and more ghouls will attempt to kill you. After dispatching them, we can enter into this deep pool of water and dive down to collect Kremvh's Tooth. Kremvh's Tooth is an incredibly unique looking weapon, and it also has the poisonous legendary effect. The weapon is not only nice to look at, but it does a ton of damage and is an excellent choice for any melee character. You can use this weapon from the shadows, or as a sword-wielding maniac, slicing everyone in your path and splashing deadly poison into their veins for good measure. Kremvh's Tooth is a must-have in Fallout 4. Coming in at the number 6 spot, we have the Kiloton Radium Rifle, obtainable from being purchased off of Brother Kane in the Nucleus in the Far Harbor DLC. The Kiloton Radium rifle is an excellent weapon to use for any regular gun-wielding character, but especially for those who enjoy radiation damage. The gun has the explosive legendary effect, so that any target hit will also take explosive damage. The gun also does radiation damage in addition to its standard ballistic damage. This means you have a radiation-inducing, explosive rifle that can be a serious threat to any enemy. It is incredibly fun to mow through enemies with this weapon, and it is especially deadly toward humans who have no immunity to radiation. Ghouls and other creatures who are immune or healed by radiation aren't the best choice to use this weapon on, but it will still be very effective in killing them due to how good its ballistic and explosive damage are. If you're a radiation-based character, then the Kiloton Radium Rifle is definitely one for you. Coming in at the number 5 spot, we have the Last Minute Gauss Rifle. The Last Minute is a legendary Gauss rifle that has the effect of doing 50% more limb damage. The Gauss rifle can be purchased from Ronnie Shaw at the castle after completing the quest Old Guns, where you find the artillery in the castle. This weapon is absolutely insane in terms of its raw damage. The weapon can literally one-shot any regular person and likely any bigger creatures too. Gauss rifles are among the best weapons in the game, and this legendary effect just increases its power significantly. If you're looking to wield a unique weapon type that does an unholy amount of damage, then the Last Minute is certainly up your alley. The ammo required is more on the expensive side compared to the bog standard bullets required for other weapons, but it is certainly worth it to wield such a powerful weapon. The Gauss rifle is incredibly fun to utilise, and you can also charge up each shot to do even more damage than just firing it as normal. This is especially useful for those really tough enemies that you need to take out quickly. Coming in at the number 4 spot, we have Atom's Judgement. This weapon can be located in the Far Harbor DLC at the Nucleus, where we also found the Kiloton Radium Rifle. In order to acquire this weapon, you must complete the quest set by Grand Zealot Richter called the Heretic. The quest is rather easy, just talk to Grand Zealot Richter about a heretic, then go on over and talk to Zealot Thiel, and finally just fast travel to this church over here and, well, kill the heretic. That's the fastest way to do this quest. Once you return to the Nucleus, you will be granted Atom's Judgement, a unique legendary weapon that does 100 radiation damage on top of its already insane ballistic damage. This weapon is one of, if not the, best melee weapon in all of Fallout 4, dishing out a ton of regular damage and also extra rad damage. The slowness of this weapon can put people off who prefer a faster style of play, but Atom's Judgement is no slouch. It is so incredibly satisfying to swing this behemoth of a sledge down onto your enemies. You can kill the toughest of enemies with this weapon because it does so much raw damage. Like the Kiloton Radium Rifle, it is less effective on creatures that do not take rad damage or are healed by it, so do keep that in mind. But Atom's Judgement is an amazing melee weapon that everyone should get. Coming in at the number 3 spot, we have the Problem Solver. The Problem Solver can be found in the Nuka World DLC, and this weapon is rather secret. You can acquire it during the quest An Ambitious Plan, where your character talks to the leader of the pack of the 3 raider gangs in Nuka World. You must use every aggressive speech option, so the right hand side option using the B button on an Xbox controller, and then at the end of the conversation, if you manage to pass the final speech check, Mason, the leader of the pack, will hand over the Problem Solver to your player character. This is a very easily missable weapon, and one that is so incredibly powerful. If you do manage to miss this weapon and you can't go back and retry this, the nigh identical splatter cannon can be found on the trader Aaron Corbett in the Nuka World trading area. Both the splatter cannon and the Problem Solver boast the Furious legendary effect, where each shot does increased damage for each consecutive hit on the same target. This is an unholily powerful modification on an automatic weapon, but especially on the handmade rifle. This weapon can turn many enemies into mush so easily because of how fast this legendary effect builds up. Your initial shot may do an okay amount of damage, but after firing 10 shots extremely rapidly with the automatic attachment, you can build that damage up exponentially. Coming in at the number 2 spot, we have the Spray and Pray. The Spray and Pray is a legendary weapon that can be purchased from the trader Cricket, who wanders around the Commonwealth. Popular hotspots for her are outside of Vault 81 and also outside of Diamond City. The best method to find her, in my opinion, is probably just to use the mattresses outside of Vault 81 and sleep for a few hours at a time until she eventually appears. The Spray and Pray has the explosive legendary effect that does explosive damage for every hit on an enemy. The Spray and Pray weapon is, in my opinion, the best gun in the game. You can turn any enemy into actual mush due to just how fast this gun fires and how much damage it does. The best part about this weapon is the lack of need to be accurate. You can fire at the floor near any enemy and absolutely obliterate them without even looking directly at them, because the explosive damage just destroys them. Additionally, the explosive damage that this weapon does often quickly cripples any very tough enemies, so even if you aren't killing them instantly, you can still slow them down to a shuffle and then unload the fury of the Spray and Pray directly at them. This is 100% a fantastic investment for any character to make, especially people who love that rapid fire feel of combat. The only slight downside to this weapon is the fact that you can also sometimes damage yourself, but you would have to be firing pretty close to do that. Now at the number 1 spot, the best weapon in all of Fallout 4, the best legendary weapon, the most overpowered one, it is the Throatslicer. The Throatslicer can be found within the Nuka World DLC and can be easily acquired by being purchased from the merchant Caitlin Alden. She can usually be found at the Nuka Town Market located here on the map. If you're playing a knife-wielding psycho or a sneaky shadow warrior, you will have no trouble dispatching your enemies with the Throatslicer. The Throatslicer is an absolute beast of a melee weapon, as it has the bleeding legendary effect, where targets struck take an extra 25 points of damage on top of the base damage this weapon does. This is undoubtedly the best legendary weapon in Fallout 4. I was a staunch supporter of Atom's Judgement taking this spot, but after using this weapon I must recant my former statements. The Throatslicer is so ridiculously fast and powerful, it is insane. It has every brilliant facet of any great melee weapon and just increases all of them exponentially. The bleeding effect is amazing, but really the speed of the attacks that you can perform is the reason why the Throatslicer must be number 1. You can slice through enemy after enemy like butter. There is no danger of you being too slow or doing too little damage with this weapon. You are truly unstoppable if you ensure you have adequate armor and protection and simply wield this weapon in your hand. Get the Throatslicer immediately if you haven't already. Okay, so that was my list of the 10 most overpowered legendary weapons in all of Fallout 4. If you disagreed, please let me know in the comment section down below and tell me if you thought one of these weapons shouldn't be here and another one should have been in its place. If you do agree with the list, then also let me know, and thank you so much for watching this video. Please leave a like if you did enjoy and subscribe to the channel. We are aiming for 15,000 subscribers by the end of the year, so please do subscribe, it would mean a lot. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you all in the next one in a bit.